together, I have continued my journey
Hmm.
in the sphere of global PPP policies and other things.
Hmm.
And my first exposure was at UNEC Geneva, where
Ji.
I landed up firstly being part of a rail standard PPP drafting team, and then subsequently I headed that team.
Hmm.
And the standard for rail PPP were released by the United Nations in 2018 November.
Hmm.
So we continued with that, and
Gadi
then
isme.
World Association of PPP.
Ji.
Uh, I joined them, and today I am in the executive committee and part of the decision making and treasurer, and also chair of the editorial board.
Hmm.
And today I'm speaking to you primarily as a WAP representative
Hmm.
who's looking at a wonderful company who has been mandated with developing 400 railway stations. I mean, you must be the only one in the world mandated with such a large and all PPP. So that gives us an additional
Let
encouragement,
me just make a correction.
sir.
We have been mandated with the 8,000 stations. So out of
8,000.
8,000, so developable will be only about 1,000. So
Okay.
presently we are working on a smaller number, but yes, that is the larger goal.
Okay. So, and all are going to be PPP?
See, out of 8,000 stations, 5,000 in any case do not require redevelopment because they are very small stations. Because Indian Railways, they have done is they have lock, stock, and barrel entrusted all these stations on Indian Railways to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to develop the plans, do all the techno-economic feasibility studies, and do the phasing in a manner so that railway does not spend anything on the stations. The
Okay.
cabinet has approved all kinds of models.
Mm-hmm.
But presently, the major model in which we'll be going ahead will be PPP. Though we have awarded few stations on EPC as well, where
Mm-hmm.
we are taking loan. Again, railway is not funding that. We are taking loan on our books and would be repaying the loan from the land monetization that we'll be doing.
Okay. Mention, or rather, you started with this challenge approach as well in the PPP. So, how far has that been successful? Like Habibganj, I think
Habibganj
was awarded on
is
Swiss
the
challenge
first
approach.
one on PPP. We are going to complete it by December. Gandhinagar in Gujarat is a unique project which is on
Okay.
EPC with the jointly with the state government, 74% state government, 26% with us. We are also constructing a 318 room 5-star hotel on
Mm-hmm.
top of tracks, India's first, and world's I would say few. पूरे दुनिया में अगर आप काउंट करें तो very few hotels are on top of tracks.
Correct,
So
correct. You are right. So
हांगकांग
that is happening in
हांगकांग में है,
Gandhinagar. वो कब तक हो जाएगा?
जापान में है,
Hong Kong में है.
मलेशिया में.
Yes.
That is December
In fact,
2020.
I was quite impressed in Hong
December
Kong when I,
2020.
yeah, 2017, I was there, and I landed up in a hotel which was on the tracks. So you could just go in the elevator at the railway
Hmm.
station.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, that is true.
So,
That is true.
and this Gandhinagar would be ready in which year?
December 2020.
Okay, this is also 2020 December.
December this year.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
what about the Swiss challenge?
yes.
How effective that has been? Because in India, though in 2009 Supreme Court allowed it to be taken up as a procurement format, but not very many people are excited about it. How has been your experience, sir?
Well, railway also started with that in 2015. So the response was very lukewarm. Out of 23 stations which were bid out on that model, only in two response was received of only single bid.
Okay.
So that did not go through. However, that model has not been junked. What the
Okay.
cabinet has now approved is we can follow any of the model which we want to follow in
Okay.
consultation with Ministry of Railways.
Okay. So, I
So
mean,
that is the
it
thing.
remains on table, but not many takers for that, or you are not promoting it
Presently, yes.
because there are various type
Uh,
of complaints.
See,
Sir.
presently there are no takers, but as we move along, uh, when some things are getting standardized, so then we might take up that model also.
Okay, that's great. And maybe if you would like to uh, say something about the land you were mentioning, land monetization and land use.
So land monetization, which you are asking,
Some-
land monetization is one of the major funding source for finding the money for station redevelopment.
okay,
User charges is another one, but user charges, unlike airports, cannot be very high. So user charges, though, will be contributing a significant cost of the station redevelopment,
okay,
but a significant cost will also have to be found out from the user charge, from the land monetization.
okay. And when you say land monetization, it is by leasing the land, or how are you actually
Yes,
uh, going about it?
land would be leased for 60 years if it is only commercial development,
Okay.
and 99 years if it is mixed use development, including residential.
And is it only usufruct rights, or how that lease is? I mean,
The lease is of the built up area.
okay,
Essentially, the land cannot be mortgaged.
that's what. So, okay, and so they are able to get make it bankable, these projects.
Yes, Habibganj is purely on land monetization, so that is bankable.
Okay. But user fee has not been, is it already? Because just now I saw a tweet while I was waiting for you at 12:05 p.m. That user fee would be levied now. So has there been any decision taken, its finality or up? And if yes, then is there a this user fee regulatory or user fee monitoring, or some kind of mechanism has been created which will monitor the user fee which is being levied? Who would decide it?
User fee would be decided by Ministry of Railways. It is unlike again the airports. It is not going to be something which will be periodically decided, and it will be all pre-decided, given in the concession agreement. How it will be indexed with the cost increase, so that also would be given. The formula would be given. So there is nothing which is to be decided at a later stage.
All right, sir.
So it will be notified soon by the Ministry of Railways.
But you would have Ministry of Railways as the body which would prescribe the user fee, also adjudicate on its uh, uh, fairness or
The
little less
the
than fair.
just a minute. The concept is not that the user fee would be decided mid-course. The
Okay,
concept is that the user fee would be decided upfront
okay,
and would be included in the concession agreement, so that one can calculate what exactly is going to be the user fee and how it is going to increase with time. So there is
okay. That
nothing which is being decided at a later stage.
okay. That's better.
So hence the question of fairness, etc., at a later stage does not arise.
That's perfect, sir. Because uh, having those many, almost 3,000 stations on development by PPP or other methods, it requires a huge investment, and there would be many entities from outside India also would be looking at it because
Yes,
if
yesterday only we had an international press conference.
yes,
Uh, so Chairman Railway Board and CEO Niti Aayog did the international press conference. The aim was to attract international investors. So the aim is to provide as much as clarity and certainty to the potential developers rather than.
Even this discussion of yours would be uh, viewed and evaluated and understood by many of the prospective investors or professionals globally, not
Right.
only on the YouTube, but also in our weekly newsletter, which goes specifically
Great,
to many of the institutions.
great, great, great. That would be
So,
fantastic because we are
yeah,
also promoting through Invest India, because Invest India, if you must be knowing, that is the
yes.
organization which promotes or brings investment to India. So that is one single body which is working in this field.
So then I also had a look at the draft MCA, which
Hmm.
is uploaded on the website.
Yes.
And would you like to say anything about that?
I can say everything on whatever you desire, but MCA is too big a document. So the only thing I would like to say at present is that this MCA would be finalized in consultation with Niti Aayog and Department of Economic Affairs and will be finally approved by the uh, Public-Private Partnership Appraisal Committee.
Yes,
So
PPAC.
it is going to be a very balanced document, balancing risk allocation on either side, and PPPAC has
Yes.
potential developers.
Okay. And in this, if you allow me, there's a mention of authority. Now, there is no mention of any regulatory body, any regulator. So, uh,
Hmm.
who actually ends up regulating the entire uh, functioning of the PPP?
See, uh, presently, uh, as you see, in case of highways, there is no regulator.
So,
But the PPPs in highways, they are also being very, very effectively implemented for last more than 20 years.
correct.
So when just like in airports, the fee is to be decided mid-course. At that time, you cannot do without a regulator.
Okay.
However, if the mid-course such fee fixation, etc., is not to be done, in that case, we can go ahead without the regulator. But as the regulator will happen, so at that time, definitely it can be accounted for and taken into account the way it also happened in case of airports. The airports were awarded. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you have now come to office.
yes, I'm now in office.
That's better.
Yes. So in case of airports, also the regulator was set up later.
Okay. All
So
right.
as and when regulator is set up, so then regulator will start regulating. But at present, the entire structure is designed in a manner. One, IRSDC will be acting as a single window for the developer, and we have been successfully implementing the Habibganj project, which was awarded in 2016. So instead of a government department which regulates the entire concession and with the primary objective of transportation, then it becomes difficult. In case it is a professional organization like IRSDC, which is managing the entire concession, so then the professional approach is there. It's a single window. We are also the deemed special planning authority for the railway land. We approve the
Okay.
layout plan, we approve the building plans, and very recently the Ministry of Environment Forest has also clarified that station redevelopment projects along with commercial development would not require prior environment clearance. So all these projects that way would have all the kind of clearances before they are bid out. So I think the requirement of mid-course adjudication by a regulator is minimized.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about the Habibganj going well, and uh, you have seen that in pandemic, the entire ecosystem has been disrupted, whether it is railway ecosystem or anything else. So, how is it affecting your ongoing PPPs, the contracts? And if you could briefly tell me about that,
See,
and
there
how
are
are you? Yeah.
two aspects to the entire
Yeah.
COVID thing. One is how it is impacting our ongoing projects.
Yes.
So, ongoing projects are presently two. One is PPP, other is EPC. So, EPC was impacted just because there was lockdowns, the labor had gone away, and
Yes.
now when you have resumed working, so there is a need of social distancing, and people can get corona because it is spreading. So, and as it happens, then you have to keep people, those who have come in contact, in quarantine, etc., etc. So that affects the progress of work. So that is generally, whether it is PPP or EPC, progress of work anywhere gets impacted when
Correct.
you work under such restrictions. The second aspect is in PPP, the demand, because it is largely funded through the real estate, and Habibganj is totally funded through the real estate. There it becomes a challenge because there is a lull in the demand, which the real estate which he was trying to market. So that
Correct.
has affected the cash flows of the developer.
Yes.
However, I would say that the work has not been impacted that greatly. He is going ahead with his commercial development. There were certain instances where people asked for refunds, but that was a minor number. But the sales have now started picking up. Yes, people
Okay.
are slightly apprehensive in terms of what exactly the way the life is going to be, because now work from
Okay.
home is becoming a norm. So, what will be the requirement of our office space? Retail people are not very, I would say, confident in going to a retail space. So, retail has been generally hit. So, people are going for e-commerce. So, those are certain, I would say, disturbances or corrections which are happening. But the fact also remains, urbanization in India is going to grow. And for the first time in last 10 years, we had the rate of growth of urban population, decadal growth, more than the decadal growth of rural populations. And even that, at that, we are only at 31% urbanization. Global norms and experiences that until we reach in the range of 60 to 70 or 80%, the urbanization continues to happen. So, in India also, as far as urbanization is concerned, so we can safely look at around 60% urbanization in near future. And if urbanization is going to happen, there is going to be demand for the commercial and residential development in the cities, and rather than the peripheral kind of development, this redevelopment which we are doing, and especially around the transit oriented hubs, the stations which are transit oriented hubs. So this is the way of life, sustainable way of life, which is going to happen. So even if the demand of real estate might drop in the periphery, this being the heart of the city, the demand would not drop. And that is our means based on the stakeholder consultation. So that is what is our
Okay.
assessment. So there will be a temporary blip, which is the case with the entire world. So it will affect slightly, but considering the long these periods, I would say it will be only a temporary blip, and the things will ultimately again look north.
Come to normal.
Yes.
That's a very good insight, sir. And the another thing which is I was looking at is the insurance of the entire PPP, because while there is a mention of the construction during construction insurance, and also during operations. So, do we have such kind of insurance taken by the projects which are about to be completed, or how are they going about it?
See, the insurance is to be taken by the developer. So they do take into insurance. Uh, if you are talking of any special insurance during this period, I'm not aware of, because yes, some people have taken insurance for corona for their staff, etc. So you are talking of the entire infrastructure insurance?
I will be coming to that. Yes, sir. It is for the construction phase as well as for the operations, because those are the things which are looked at by the international investors also. So
So
my
the developer takes
uh,
insurance. They are advised to take insurance, and somewhere insurance in fact mandatory also. So they are taking insurance.
for construction, certainly you make it a CAR mandatory,
Even
and
for O&M also, they have to have some indemnity. They have to have some insurance. So they have to do that. And
have
for the PPP, which we are now offering, we are giving to them the station for 60 years, especially the
yes,
large stations.
yes, I saw that. Then the dispute resolution procedure, which is mentioned on page number 49, page 170, Article 49.
Hmm.
It says the initial one is conciliation by the independent engineer. Then it goes to general manager, railway zone, and the CMD of that SPV. Then arbitration as far as Act 1996 is concerned, and authority has to have an empaneled list of arbitrators,
Arbitrators.
among whom I mean, to me, looking at from an investor point of view or from an international point of view, it is appearing little complex in the sense that independent engineers reconciliation, and beyond that, general manager of the zone who's got possibly hundreds or maybe few dozen stations under him.
There is going to be a bit of change in that. Number one, see, independent engineer is independent because since you deal with PPPs, normally in a PPP contract, the independent engineer gets paid by half, 50% by the authority and
Yes,
50% by the private partner. So first of all, he has to be the one who has to give a view as to whatever is the dispute, how it is to be resolved. So there is a process of escalation. So the first escalation would be the independent engineer. The second escalation is from the authority side, whosoever is the head. So earlier it was conceived that zonal railway might be signing the concession agreement. Now there is a change. The document which you must be seeing, that is slightly old. So now the
okay,
authority that is IRSDC and Rail Land Development Authority would be signing the concession agreement. So their head of the organization and the head of the organization from the PPP side, and of course with
okay,
the opinion of the independent engineer. And in case if that cannot be resolved, then it has to go for the process of arbitration.
perfect. Now, uh, I have generally completed the points which I thought I will discuss with you. If you allow me, I will just mention my observations from the international investors' point of view, which possibly you can take into consideration as you go towards finalization of uh, this MCA. The first one is the risk assignment. The risk assignment today, whether it is construction risk or operational risk or whatever, are
Hmm.
appearing to be little asymmetric today, and there need to be more balancing required in the risk assignment. The second thing is insurance, as I said. Even World Bank, in their paper, I think few months back, they had published, and they had mentioned India's specific case about the insurance not being factored correctly, and due to which the international investors are not very happy on that issue. May I also tell you, sir, that today, while the world suffered the lockdown and everything, economies came to a standstill, the reserves in US Treasury went up from 1.5 trillion to 2.9 trillion. So the liquidity countries were also apprehensive in not releasing the liquidity because it may fall into speculators' hands. So while
Mhm.
there's a problem of plenty, there is also problem of scarcity, like you are looking for funds. So if you look at like the last point which I had mentioned, the ESG compliance, I'm sure enough attention at your end must be given on that, because those are the things which would indicate to the international investors that yes, we are ready and we are as per the international norms. So the third point which I wish to also highlight is the dispute resolution.
Yes, please.
Dispute resolution, there is a step before that. Every activity, whether it is facility management, whether it is development of the real estate or whatever, has to have a focus on dispute avoidance. So you avoid dispute, and then you resolve dispute, and that has to be a very comprehensive process. And those, there are international norms for that, and possibly you can look at that. And the lastly, I had mentioned about the ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance issues, and those are gaining a lot of attention nowadays, especially after the pandemic. Because, and more so in your case, unlike any infrastructure of road and any others where you just pass through, you are directly touching the feelings of people. People are going to utilize your facilities, they're going to spend time there. So for you, ESG becomes, I think, most important. So with that, I would wish you all the best. And if at all at our level in the WAP, uh, we could be promoting the investment into this, but certainly we would like to be in touch. And one of the panels, if you in future agree, we would like to invite you to give your views on an international webinar. And
Sure, sure. Most welcome. So it was very nice interacting with you, Mr. Naresh. So it was a pleasure interacting with you and on all the points. Whatever your observations are, if I can request you to kindly mail me so that we definitely try to incorporate to the extent possible. All the documents which we prepare, they are also done with the inputs of the probable investors. So there's nothing which is presently cast in stone. So it is the document for consultation. We have received some comments. So if there are some of the comments which you have mentioned, or even if there are some more comments, you are encouraged to mail them to us. I would also request you, in case if you can discuss with other community, those who might be looking at investments, or any examples of failures, I would say, because it is always from the failures that you learn more than from the successes. So there are some takeaways from all the failed stories of PPP. So at least those things are the ones which should be avoided. So if you can help us with those details also, it will be very welcome, so that at least we do not commit those errors when we are starting late. So the advantage is that you need not follow others, you can lead, and you can be ahead of everybody. So that is our aim. We just don't want to trail. We want to pick up on all the experiences and then be ahead of the curve. So that essentially is the aim. Whatever is the conference, time permitting, we'll definitely like to participate. It will be nice to learn from global players. It will be excellent, I would say, feedback. The responsibility is huge. IRSDC now is the only agency in the country which is having, I would say, all the powers of the plan sanction, as powers of the zonal railway administration, powers of the urban local body, and now also the environment management plan. So that also has to be approved by IRSDC only. So that gives huge responsibility as well. So it's not just the powers. So we have to be very, very cautious in doing entire planning. It's a new work which is being done by railways. So we have to take number of stakeholders with us. For each station, there are 20 to 25 stakeholders. We do a very detailed project preparation exercise, which takes sometimes 2 to 3 years also, We take we do all the consultation with the local bodies, other statutory authorities, the heritage, etc. Take all the approvals, airport authority, and the transportation infrastructure, water supply, sewerage, drainage, division level of railways, headquarter, railway board, before we bid out the entire project. So it's a well-prepared project. In fact, for the Habibganj, the landing agencies, their comments was, we have not seen a much better prepared project than this. We had to do nothing. We had to just sanction the loan after seeing the credentials of the private party. As far as project is concerned, it was absolutely very well designed, very well developed. So that gives us the confidence, and the success of the two completed projects in December would also give, I would say, a practical demonstration of what a redeveloped station is. Because unless until you have something as a factual proof, you many times have many advisors, and people keep giving a lot of advices. We have to take all those advices on board, but still
Yes.
keep the vision alive, that what we are creating as a civil engineer, it should be with at least 100 years vision.
Wonderful. Very well and very detailed explanation, sir. We look forward for the timely completion. And if you allow me, I would be sending a brochure and a collar pin to your office. This is WAP collar pin, this one.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
as a memento, small thing for our this meeting. And thank you very much. And we look forward to interacting with you more.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Naresh. Namaskar.